Disbelieving laughs erupted throughout the Galactic Council chamber as the alien representatives mocked the lone human standing before them, until his jaw clenched and he uttered words that would soon turn those laughs into horrified silence. "We didn't come alone." Robert Phillips, scarred from the many wars he'd fought back on Earth, stood tall amidst the sneering faces of the alien politicians who had long viewed humanity as a backwater species barely worth acknowledging. The reptilian Wagner delegate, Hector, had been particularly brutal in his assessment. "You barely survived your own nuclear age," Hector scoffed. "What makes you think you can contribute anything to the galactic stage? Your primitive technology and lack of colonies beyond your home system make you little more than cosmic infants." The other representatives chuckled and nodded in agreement, but Robert remained unfazed. He fixed Hector with a steely gaze. "We may be new to the stars, but we've been fighting wars since before your species crawled out of the primordial ooze," he declared. "And as I said, we didn't come alone." With a dramatic flourish, Robert activated a holographic display that filled the center of the chamber. Gasps echoed through the room as the images of fearsome creatures materialized before the counselor's widened eyes. "I present to you our ancient warbeasts," Robert announced, pride evident in his voice. "Creatures that have evolved alongside us and served as loyal companions in countless conflicts. And now, they've been enhanced with our most advanced biotech and neural implants." The holograms rotated, showcasing the awe-inspiring diversity of Earth's battle-ready fauna. Massive armored mastodons stood shoulder to shoulder with swift, agile raptors. Giant eagles soared overhead, their sharp eyes glinting with predatory intelligence. Dire wolves, saber-toothed cats, and colossal apes all stood at attention, ready to unleash their primal fury upon humanity's enemies. Shouts of disbelief and outrage filled the council chamber as the aliens began to realize the implications of this revelation. Humanity, once considered a minor player on the galactic stage, had just become a force to be reckoned with. Robert allowed himself a small smirk as he watched the chaos unfold. The Wagner, in particular, seemed to be on the verge of a full-blown panic. They had been the most vocal in their dismissal of Earth, and now they would be the first to face the consequences of their hubris. For too long, the people of Earth had been content to remain within the confines of their own solar system, focusing on rebuilding and healing after centuries of war and strife. But now, with the advent of faster-than-light travel and the discovery of alien civilizations, humanity had a chance to prove its worth on a much grander scale. And prove it they would. With their loyal warbeasts at their side, the humans were ready to carve out a place for themselves among the stars, even if they had to fight tooth and nail for every inch of cosmic territory. As the clamor in the council chamber reached a fever pitch, Robert raised his hand, silencing the room with a single gesture. His eyes locked with Hector's, and he uttered a challenge that would echo through the annals of galactic history. "You may have laughed at us, but now it's our turn to show you what we're made of. Prepare yourselves, Wagner, for humanity, and our ancient war beasts are coming for you, and we won't stop until the galaxy knows the true strength of Earth." Light years away on the Wagner colony world of Xanthax Prime, Hector stood before a sea of his finest warriors, their scales glistening under the harsh sun. "The humans think they can stand against us," he bellowed, his voice dripping with disdain. "They believe their primitive beasts can match our superior technology, but we will show them the folly of their arrogance." The assembled troops roared their approval, slamming their fists against their armored chests. Hector grinned, his sharp teeth glinting. "We will crush them beneath our claws and grind their bones to dust. Earth will fall, and the galaxy will tremble at the might of the Wagner." As the Wagner fleet descended upon Earth, they were greeted by an unexpected sight. A phalanx of mastodons, each the size of a small building, stood resolute before the human defenses. Their thick hides were encased in heavy armor, and upon their backs were mounted massive railguns, their barrels gleaming in the sunlight. The Wagner ships opened fire, confident in their superior firepower. But the mastodons held their ground, their neural implants allowing them to target the enemy vessels with uncanny precision. The railguns roared to life, hurling projectiles at incredible speeds. The Wagner shields buckled under the onslaught, unable to withstand the sheer kinetic force of the impacts. Amid the chaos, Robert rode atop his personal mastodon, its armor adorned with the scars of countless battles. He raised his fist in the air, signaling the charge. Packs of raptors surged forward, their claws finding purchase on the hulls of the Wagner landing craft. They tore into the metal with savage ferocity, ripping open gaping holes and spilling the enemy troops onto the battlefield. The human forces, emboldened by the strength of their warbeasts, met the Wagner in brutal close-quarters combat. Soldiers and beasts fought side by side, their bonds forged in the crucible of war. The mastodons trampled the enemy underfoot, while the raptors darted in and out of the fray, their razor-sharp teeth and claws leaving a trail of carnage in their wake. Under the relentless assault of the human forces and their warbeasts, the Wagner began to falter. Their ships, once thought invincible, lay in smoking ruins upon the scorched earth. Hector, watching from orbit, felt a cold dread settle in his gut as he realized the true power of Earth's defenders. As the Wagner retreated back into the void, Hector's comlink crackled to life. The face of his superior, a grizzled old warrior, filled the screen. "The invasion was a test," the elder Wagner rasped. "We needed to gauge the strength of the humans and the effectiveness of their warbeasts." Hector's eyes widened. "A test, but our losses are insignificant compared to what is to come," his superior interrupted. "The real battle, Hector, has yet to begin. Earth has proven itself a worthy adversary, and we must prepare for a war unlike any the galaxy has ever seen." The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with frantic whispers and concerned glances as representatives from across the galaxy convened an emergency session. Robert Phillips, now revered as a hero among his people, strode confidently to the center of the room, his battle-worn face a testament to the ferocity of Earth's defense. "Counselors," he began, his voice echoing through the chamber, "the Wagner's attack on Earth was not an isolated incident. It was a prelude to something far more sinister. Hector and his kind cannot be trusted, and we must prepare for the worst." Murmurs of disbelief and fear rippled through the assembled delegates. Some scoffed at the idea of the Wagner posing a significant threat, while others nodded solemnly, their eyes betraying a growing sense of unease. Suddenly alarms blared throughout the space station, and the view screens flickered to life, revealing a sight that sent a collective gasp through the room. A massive Wagner fleet, far larger than the one that had attacked Earth, dropped out of hyperspace, its ships bristling with weapons and poised for attack. Hector's face appeared on the central screen, his reptilian features twisted in a sneer. "Counselors," he hissed, "you have two choices: surrender and subjugate humanity, or face the full might of the Wagner Empire." Robert's eyes narrowed. He had anticipated this move and had come prepared. With a flick of his wrist, he activated a hidden protocol, sending a coded signal into the depths of space. Moments later, a fleet of human ships emerged from the nearby nebulae, their hulls gleaming with advanced technology. These vessels, secretly constructed and hidden away after the first Wagner attack, were crewed by the best and brightest of humanity's warriors. But they were not alone. As the ships drew closer, the council members noticed something unusual. Packs of genetically engineered dire wolves, each the size of a small fighter craft, prowled the hulls of the human vessels, their eyes glinting with a predatory intelligence. The space battle erupted in a dazzling display of firepower and fury. The dire wolves, capable of surviving in the vacuum of space, leapt from the human ships, swarming over the Wagner fleet like a furry tidal wave. Their powerful jaws and razor-sharp claws tore through the enemy's hull, disabling weapons and cutting off vital systems. Caught between the relentless assault of the human fleet and the Council's own defenses, the Wagner forces quickly found themselves overwhelmed. Ships exploded in brilliant fireballs, while others limped away, trailing debris and sparks. Amidst the chaos, Robert and his loyal dire wolf companion, Zeus, led a daring boarding party onto Hector's flagship. They fought their way through the ship's corridors, their weapons blazing and Zeus's fangs bared in a fearsome snarl. They reached the ship's main weapons control room, and with a few well-placed shots and a savage bite from Zeus, they sabotaged the Vognier's most powerful systems. Hector's ship, now heavily damaged, managed to limp away from the battle, but not before the Council witnessed the true power of Earth's Warbeasts. As the smoke cleared and the Vognier fleet retreated, the councillors stared at Robert in stunned silence. The human, once dismissed as a primitive upstart, had just demonstrated the incredible strength and cunning of his people and their loyal companions. The Galactic Council, shaken to its core, now understood that humanity and its warbeasts were not to be underestimated. Earth had proven itself a force to be reckoned with, and the galaxy would never be the same. With the Vognier fleet limping back to their homeworld, Robert wasted no time in pressing the advantage. He rallied his forces, both human and beast, and set course for the heart of the Vognier Empire. The human ships, sleek and deadly, sliced through the void, their hulls bristling with weapons and their holds filled with the fiercest creatures Earth had ever known. As they approached the Vognier homeworld, a sight greeted them that made even the most battle-hardened warriors pause. Orbiting the planet was a horde of gargantuan reptilian beasts, each one the size of a small moon. Their scales glinted in the starlight, impervious to all but the most powerful weapons. These were the dreadnoughts, the Vognier's own ancient warbeasts, long thought extinct, but secretly bred for this very purpose. Robert's eyes narrowed as he studied the monstrous creatures. He had anticipated the Vognier would have some surprises in store, but nothing like this. The dreadnoughts were living fortresses, their jaws capable of crushing starships and their hides shrugging off volleys of missiles like rain. But Robert had a surprise of his own. With a fierce grin, he gave the order to release his secret weapon. From the bowels of the human ships emerged a pack of cyborg tyrannosaurs, their bodies enhanced with unbreakable adamantium skeletons and their minds linked directly to their human riders. Leading the pack was Titan, Robert's personal mount. The massive beast let out a roar that shook the very fabric of space as it charged towards the nearest dreadnought. The other tyrannosaurs followed suit, their thunderous footfalls echoing across the void as they leapt from ship to ship, closing in on their gargantuan prey. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Titan and his pack tore into the dreadnoughts with savage fury, their adamantium claws ripping through scale and flesh alike. The dreadnoughts fought back with all the primal ferocity of their kind, their massive jaws snapping and their tails lashing out like whips. Meanwhile, the human fleet focused its firepower on the Vognier's planetary defenses. Massive orbital cannons and swarms of fighter craft rose up to meet them, filling the sky with a deadly web of energy beams and missiles. But the humans were undeterred. They fought with a skill and tenacity that belied their relative newness to the galactic stage, their ships darting and weaving through the chaos like deadly predators. As the battle raged above, Robert received a transmission from his intelligence network. Hector, it seemed, had barricaded himself in the Vognier capital city, surrounded by his most fanatical loyalists. They were prepared to fight to the last, to die rather than surrender to the human invaders. Robert's jaw clenched as he digested this news. He knew that as long as Hector remained free, the Vognier would never truly be defeated. The warlord was too cunning, too ruthless to simply fade away into obscurity. If there was to be any hope of ending this war once and for all, Robert would have to confront Hector personally. With a growl of determination, Robert urged Titan towards the planet's surface. The cyborg tyrannosaur let out a roar of acknowledgement, its massive body shuddering with anticipation as it prepared to carry its rider into the heart of the enemy stronghold. Around them, the battle continued to rage, the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance as the ancient warbeasts of two worlds clashed in a titanic struggle for supremacy. Robert clung to Titan's adamantium-laced back as the cyborg tyrannosaur charged through the war-torn streets of the Vognier capital. Plasma bolts sizzled past them, exploding into the rubble. Smoke choked the air. Alongside Titan raced a pack of gene-spliced velociraptor scouts, their sleek bodies darting nimbly around obstacles, razor claws clicking on the stone. One velociraptor suddenly screeched and crumpled. A smoking hole blasted through its skull. "Sniper!" Robert swung his pulse rifle up and fired back, the gun bucking in his hands. High above, a Wagner tumbled from a window and hit the street with a crunch. More plasma fire rained down as they neared the central palace. Wagner troops boiled out to meet them, hissing and spitting. The velociraptors leapt into the fray, talons flashing. Blood sprayed the walls. A raptor screamed as a plasma bolt took its leg off at the hip. Robert and Titan smashed through the line, adamantium claws pulverizing armor and bone. They crashed into the palace gates, and Titan ripped them away with a vicious swipe. In the courtyard beyond, Wagner elites crouched behind barricades, heavy plasma cannons swiveling to face the attackers. "Take cover," Robert roared. Titan lunged behind a massive statue as the cannons opened up. The other velociraptors scattered. Superheated plasma chewed up the ground. Raptor after raptor fell, bodies charred and smoldering. Robert gritted his teeth, grief and rage warring in his heart. He thumbed a control on his rifle. A micro-missile leapt from the underbarrel launcher and streaked into the Wagner position. The explosion ripped the barricades apart. Titan surged forward into the smoke and confusion, Robert firing from his back. They smashed into the Wagner before they could recover. Claws flashed, plasma hissed. Wagner died screaming. And then silence. Robert slid from Titan's back, clutching a wound in his side. He stumbled through the blasted palace doors and into the throne room beyond. There, on the dais, stood Hector. The Wagner leader leveled his plasma blade at Robert. "Fool," Hector spat. "You think your victory here matters?" Robert raised his own blade. "It's over, Hector. Surrender." Hector laughed, a brittle, hollow sound. "Over? No, human, it's only beginning." He lunged, and their blades clashed in a spray of sparks. They traded vicious blows, darting back and forth across the throne room. Robert staggered as Hector's blade seared across his chest. He fell to one knee. Hector loomed over him, eyes blazing. "To your warbeasts, your ships, your weapons," Hector hissed. "They will not save you from what is coming." With a roar, Robert surged up and drove his blade through Hector's chest. The Wagner leader gasped, dark blood bubbling from his jaws. "The Zorgak," Hector wheezed. "They are the true masters. This war, just a game, a diversion. When they return, you will all burn." Hector shuddered and went limp. Robert let his body slump to the floor. He turned and limped from the throne room, Hector's final words echoing in his mind. Outside, the last Wagner defenders were throwing down their weapons, hands raised in surrender. But as Robert looked up at the war-torn sky, he knew this was no true victory. Hector's warning rang in his ears. The Zorgaks were coming, and humanity would have to be ready. Robert placed a hand on Titan's flank, feeling the battle-scarred adamantium under his palm. Around him, the surviving velociraptors limped and staggered, blood spattered but alive. They had won this battle, but at a terrible cost. So many friends, so many brave companions, lost. Robert turned his gaze to the stars, jaw clenched. Let the Zorgaks come. Humanity and their warbeasts would be waiting. This was only the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn the true meaning of war. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.